We got to talk about this Roe versus Wade, the overturning of it, and the ramifications that definitely preceded. So who we have online right now is Mrs. Duncan Sutherland, president of the PMP's Women's Movement. I wanted to have a conversation today because, a lot of people feel like laws like this don't affect Jamaica, but I tend to think it does. And I would love to hear what Mrs. Duncan Sutherland thinks. Welcome to the CrossOver.
Thank you, Nikki Z. How are you? I'm glad to be back here with you, man.
I'm good. I'm feeling really good right now. It's bad news, but I'm feeling good in watching the women coming together, in watching all of the peaceful protests.
Yes.
I'm feeling good in seeing that a lot of the states that were so quick on the draw to go ahead and ban it and put women just out there like that, a lot of them have to eat their words, and a lot of the clinics had to reopen because of the amount of lawsuits that followed after. So the first thing I want to talk about is the whole thing of Roe versus Wade. From your viewpoint, can you talk to Jamaica on why this particular piece of news is so significant and important, and if it does have anything to do or any residual effects that will come to Jamaica, what do you foresee that being?
We've been having this conversation in Jamaica for a very long time. I think one of the first times I know of it going to Parliament is 1975.
Yeah.
Dr. McNeil carried it to Parliament that we needed to change the Offences Against the Persons Act so that we could make abortions legal in Jamaica, because he thought women should have the right to choose.
Yeah.
At that time, the issue that had come up is that they were trying to solve the problem of teenage pregnancies.
Yeah.
And a lot of young teenage girls, and I suspect it's still pretty similar, were going in for illegal abortions.
Yeah.
And really having a very difficult time.
Some were dying because they were trying to do it at home.
That's correct. And we still have that kind of situation occurring in Jamaica.
Yep.
Because although it is that our doctors, I say this with tongue in cheek, I can't tell you that I know any specific doctor that does this.
Yeah.
But they will be open to doing it. Not all will be, and not all people will have the access to funds to get it done. And you have to do it on a table. You know what I mean?
I want to get to the meat and potatoes of this, because there is this whole community, and it's a lot of the religious community, who just see abortion as killing a baby. First of all, it's not a baby. Let's be very clear. Science has told us that over and over again. And I saw a post today, by the way. Let me just interject this. Jeff, thank you for this one. I can't exactly read the post as it states, but just to put things in perspective, the post said if abortions are murder, then providing the service of fellatio on a man is basically cannibalism.
Yes.
So that's how stupid. That's what I'm saying. That's how stupid this law is, because when people just put this law in place, they're thinking of people who are just having sex recklessly. But there's this whole faction, especially in Jamaica, when we talk about things like molestation, rape, and violation. So imagine if you live in a house and you've been molested by your father, your uncle, your grandfather, something like that, and you get pregnant, and now you can't even make a decision with that. You're stuck.
That's correct. And this was actually the situation that came before Dr. McNeil at the time when he brought it. And it's been coming back to the Parliament in Jamaica several times.
Because it's rampant. We know it's happening. It's disgusting how many women have been violated. It's disgusting.
Yes. But apart from even violation, even if it is consensual and you do not wish to carry a child now at this point, you should have that right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So this is not about even only when situations of violation occur, but it's just about our right to choose as women. Nobody else should have that domain over our own bodies as to what should occur with our own bodies.
Exactly.
And so that's my perspective.
Yeah.
But the truth is there are a lot of others with different perspectives out there. And we have to complete the conversation in Jamaica. As I said, we started from 1975. We just recently had a whole committee look at it in Jamaica and look at the
Mm-hmm.
two sections and look at the arguments for and against.
Yeah,
But that report didn't come to Parliament. And
exactly.
it was blocked from coming to Parliament because they said they changed government despite the fact that it was the same party in
Yeah.
power.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, and so therefore we are trying to get it to be come back on the agenda because the discussion needs to happen and needs to be complete, not just in the Parliament, but right across the country.
They need to
You
do
know what I mean?
this. You know, I'm right here talking to you at the same time. CNN is doing a lot of specials on this exact subject, and they're bringing light a lot of subjects people do not discuss when we talk about abortions. Like this mom right here who's discussing the fact that she had an abortion after learning her baby and even future babies will have severe fetal abnormalities. You know,
Yes.
there are people that will have their opinion, but it's not your decision. If a person is not in a mental space to be able to handle everything that comes with that, are you going to take up the baton? Have you
That,
seen what these children's homes are like? Is that what you're trying to say is the only alternative in your mind? It's
right.
insane that we
And
have
then,
to have
and
these
then
conversations.
because if you're going to do that, then you're going to really have to have, and I mean, but even then it just doesn't make any sense because there is still the mental trauma. Even if you put the support in place to support a child fully, the mental trauma that a woman goes through in terms of giving birth and what that impact is on that woman,
Amen.
if they are raped, or some people are able to do it and some people are not able to
No.
keep the child. That's just a reality.
No,
You know
and
what I
if
mean?
you made a mistake, it's your mistake to decide how you want to handle it. Nobody's supposed to say, well, yeah, you made a mistake, but now you got to just go ahead and do
Right.
Why? I don't understand how we get to places where people feel it's okay to make laws about people's bodies. Like, how is
and
that
then
a
they
thing?
and they say that they believe they have this right
Wow.
directly. They are not questioning whether they think they have the right or not. But what is good about the good thing that's coming out of this overturning of this decision
Mm-hmm.
is that it has put it back on the table in a much more powerful way.
Good. Yeah.
All of the people, as you say, in the States, they tried to close those clinics
Yeah.
and they got the resistance from the people.
Yep. And
Now,
a lot of
we,
those clinics had to open back up.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to, because women need to be respected in such a way within our society that
Yes.
we can have full control and full power over not just our bodies, but also how it is that we develop our minds. The
Exactly.
historical place of the gender balance when it comes to woman to man,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because of course we can go wider with the whole gender
Of course.
conversation.
Of course.
But right now we're talking about the woman to man conversation is so debilitating when it comes to women. It's so disempowering
So
that
why
we
don't
really,
we do more PSAs? Like I always wondered why the government never did more PSAs to help just move the mindset of the people. I've seen so many governments in different places do that. I mean, you guys have use over the media for everything else they want to use it for. Why is it never in place to help with the mentality of the people? Because I don't think a lot of men who are used to the way it was, you know, they are the arc, they are the person, they are the matriarch, they are, but the times have changed where there are more women who really just want to figure out who they are. And it's not that they're difficult, is that they have found a different way of life. And I don't think this is sinking in. So you still have these people in power who are in the old mindset that, well, I am the man and I make the decisions and what I say goes, you women.
yes, still happening. And the reason why you don't have the PSAs is precisely because of that. Who you have in charge now, they do not have the same perspective.
Yeah,
That they do not get the perspective that there is in fact there should be gender parity, and
very
there is in fact
much.
an equalness that is intrinsic between men and women. They
Yeah.
don't get it. And so part of the things that I'm very happy about is within the PNP,
Mm-hmm.
I have been put in the shadow cabinet, appointed in the shadow cabinet
Yeah.
as as what you call it, deputy spokesperson
Mm-hmm.
in the area of gender, culture, and social transformation. And that now gives that opportunity, because we have done before
Good.
PSAs in Jamaica to
Yeah.
change mindset, and very successful ones. We did it with the
There
two
was a
is better than
family
too
one.
many.
I remember a family
Yes.
one at one point.
Yeah, man. There was two is better than too many. We've done it successfully with seatbelts when we were getting people to start to
Mm,
wear seatbelts in Jamaica.
condoms.
Uh, Yes, condoms. That was part of the two is better than too
Mm-hmm.
many. Per what do you call it? All kinds of contraceptives, etc.
Yeah.
So we know how to do it. We know
Yes.
not to do the PSAs, but to put the social workers into the community. At that time, they were called
Mm-hmm.
health aides. Put them into the community, have the conversation, because it requires conversation.
Absolutely. It really
So
does. I don't feel like
yes,
anybody's talking to the citizens of Jamaica. So you have a whole section of the garrison who may not get the opportunity to travel as much as others. So they won't get to expand in that way unless they decide to read more, Google more, and do that. But we know the
and they do,
majority. Yeah,
but they need the engagement. They need
the
the engagement to
engagement is
understand
different.
how they can impact the laws and how they can impact the decisions.
Exactly,
And
the
the truth of the
power.
matter is, this is not the popular vote right now in Jamaica. I think if you took a poll now, it would not be in favor of abortion. But we weren't in favor of maternity leave when it was first put on the table,
Hmm.
because it said, "Oh, we're just going to encourage women to just go home and have a week for babies,
I think the
and then
abortion would be
everybody's going to lose their
popular.
job." So we need to just have the conversation and have it openly,
Yeah.
in a way that we are listening to each other,
Listen, I think the
so we can
abortion
get.
one would be very popular if you made it very simply said, guess what, guys? Anytime you get somebody pregnant, your wages will permanently be garnished at least 20% to make sure that that child is funded for, whether you decide to run away or not. And I guarantee a lot of the men would change their mind instantly. Wait, what?
I think
Oh, what? Oh my gosh, no! They'd be like, yo, open it up now. Now. That's all
that's
I'm
a
saying.
fact. That's true. Well, beat it where it hurts. But I think it also needs a little more convincing rather than brute force.
Yeah, I don't believe in force, but it's just disgusting that we had to get here because that's what they're doing to us. They're forcing us to either have a child that we're not ready for, not financially fit for, or even that came out of trauma. They're forcing us to do this instead of just letting people have their choice. This is not something that should even be an argument between humans. Every human should have a right to their own body, period. I don't see where the question is.
Yeah. Well, remember, we are coming out of a society where both men and women did not have the right to their own bodies, nor did they
Mainly
have the right
women.
to, both men and women as slaves.
No, yes, I know, but mainly
So we
women
are
because
coming
even after,
from there, and then mainly women. But we're
yes.
coming from there, so we have to understand that becoming empowered
Mm-hmm.
and helping people to see their own power within
Yes,
is
ma'am.
going to take more than just changing laws. It's also going to take a lot of conversation. And
Yes.
for me, I am very clear. What Jamaica needs now is an army of social workers, properly trained on the ground, dealing with a lot of these issues if we are going to re-engineer our society
Yes,
to
ma'am.
be more enlightened and empowered,
Yes, ma'am.
and
But we
to
can
be
do it.
one of equality. And we can do it.
We can do it.
We
Jamaica
can do
is
it.
one of the
We can
greatest.
afford it, and we can do it.
Listen, this is one of the greatest islands, one of the greatest places, and nobody can tell me no different. And it's always gonna be. It's just for every citizen of Jamaica to understand the greatness of where you are and stop trying to follow overseas trends and be the strong
Yes.
Jamaicans that people know Jamaicans for. You know what I mean?
And that's what we have to guard against, because the US is a superpower.
Yeah.
We have to guard against to make sure that
Not no
countries
more.
like Jamaica,
Mhm.
and especially our country,
Yes.
Jamaica, does not feel it has to follow suit. And so therefore we continue to shut down this conversation.
Exactly.
So as a women's movement, it's not necessarily the most popular conversation, but politics is not always about the popular space, but the right space. There must be
Exactly.
principle that you stand on. If you are going to transform, you can't transform by doing what people are used to all the time. You have to
No.
transform by introducing new and more empowering concepts to people.
And change is uncomfortable. And look,
It
I'm
is.
going to tell my listeners one more time. We are in such a far gone bad side of the place that to make the changes, we need to get back on board. There's probably going to have to be a bunch of uncomfortable things that are needed to go through to get us back on par. You know what I mean? Too many people
Yes.
are living in the shiny trinket world where you're watching the shiny trinkets and you're not getting what's happening out there, and it's not nice. And after we get this argument done, can we then have a conversation about the legal age being 16 so we can't have 40, 50-year-old men, looking at a 16-year-old going, well, she's legal.
Yeah, man. So that's where we need to get back to that conversation, have the closing age law passed.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is not beyond us. If we are really there, we're going to think about, and I mean, there's so much more we need to think about in the context of gender
Yes.
and our laws, because
Yes,
we are
ma'am.
not used to thinking about lawmaking when in the context
Of
of
gender.
how will it impact a woman differently from how it will impact a man.
Yep. That's because we got too many shriveled old thinking. I'm going to leave it right there. But anyway, I'm
Yeah, I
happy.
think you should.
I am so happy you are going to be in this position. And please feel free to reach out to me and, of course, to the station on a whole, because you definitely got a friend over here with that topic for sure, because that's all we're trying to send. Positive messages, empowering messages. That's what we're about. Okay? Anytime
Well,
you
that
want to come
sounds
back on the
great.
show.
Yes, and we're going to have a discussion where we can, and maybe it won't be on air. It could be on air, but won't be in studio. Where
Yeah.
we're going to go out into the communities and have some conversations.
Listen.
So I'll bear that in mind. I may call you.
Please. And there's something I'm going to put an idea I've had in my head for years into your brain, because you of all people could probably get it going. There needs to be a summer camp that actually moves parish to parish every summer, and it's going to be a self camp. What the camp does is sets up different little sections in one community area that teaches different things: self-empowerment, self-love, what it is to be selfish and how not to be selfish, self-defense, self-care, all the things that have to do with self, because we need to start teaching these little kids how to be individuals so that they can love their brothers and sisters even more. Sometimes you got to learn to love yourself first. You know what I mean? So I'm all about bringing this self-love camp and just go parish to parish and have these kids come out for a full day.
I'll one up you better. I think we can start with the summer, but from my perspective, that's where the army of social workers come in, because they should work from 2 to 10, from 2 to 6 in the schools with our children, doing just that.
Yes, ma'am.
Teaching that self-love, helping them to learn how to work with each other,
Yes,
to
ma'am.
love each other and to love themselves.
And respect
and then
differences.
to go into the communities with them.
Yes.
And be having that conversation with families.
Yeah.
And with parents.
Empower the kids. Give them little initiatives that if they excel at what we're telling them, and then now you get to be a spokesperson and you get to go around the island. And this could even lead to maybe scholarships and all kinds of stuff. We need these kids empowered, and we're not doing enough to empower them. So thank you so much for your time, Mrs. Duncan. I appreciate you being here, and I really, really want you back on the show. Duncan Sutherland. I forgot to say the Sutherland. Sorry, my apologies.
That's
Miss
okay.
Dun-
That's all right. You work with the program.
Yeah, so
man.
I
But it's really great to be here, Nikki Z.
Yeah.
I always enjoy having a conversation with you, and I'm going to take you up on that offer.
I hope so. Anytime. I'm here.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for. So I'm all about that. All right. Much
Okay.
love. Be safe on that road anywhere you're going, because there's some crazy drivers in them streets.
Yeah, man. Heading to Portland. I'm on the
That's my
going to
parish.
a conference. That's your parish?
Yes. Tell
Okay.
tell Mama Vaz I said hello. All right.
right.
Have a good time. It's definitely the bridge.